This article is put out this in video, November 20th, 1 week.
We owe this to these young kids, to these young adults. We owe it to them. And we are absolutely dedicated to make sure that that happens.
Welcome back to Sunday Night in America. Idaho police are still looking for a suspect and a murder weapon. After the horrific stabbing of 4 students last week, the police have sent, frankly, mixed messages in this case thus far. Ted Williams, I'm glad you're in Idaho because you had a question at the press conference, and I want our viewers to hear your question and the answer.
Can you share with us why you believe they are targeted killings, and do you know who, if any, of the victims were the actual targets?
We believe they're targeted because we take a totality of all the circumstances that we're looking at. Do we know any one person that it was targeted? We're not able to say at this point in time due to our investigation.
Ted, do they have a motive, or do they have a list of suspects, or are they just still kind of in the evidence gathering stage here?
You know, Trey, I think they're still in the evidence gathering stage. The reason that I asked the question about the targeting, since they had put that out there, I think we all want to know what was the motive behind this. So if you could clearly show us that there was information saying that there was a target, well, then the question is, who was the target? So this is information that the public want to know. But I respect the fact, Trey, and you've been in this business a long time also, that law enforcement is not able to give us everything that we want to know. But I got to tell you, some of the things that they've told us, Trey, even in this press conference that they had this afternoon, I found rather confusing.
This is 1 week later. We're still just as confused, sir.
Yep.
Well, you're right, Ted. There's a fine line. I mean, the police usually only tell you what they need your help with.
This guy's an alien.
They're certainly not going to lay out their evidence, but I found it completely confounding that on the one hand, the public's not at risk, but they have no idea who did it. The only way that's true is in a murder-suicide, which is not what this is. So let me ask this question. It's going to sound indelicate, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Is this police force up to the task, or do they need to bring in the Idaho State Police or someone else?
Well, Trey, they have brought in the Idaho State Police, and they've also brought in the FBI. The Moscow Police Department, clearly, they don't have that many murders even in a century here. So they're not experienced in murders. But I think the FBI and the Idaho State Police are very well qualified and can help out. But one of the things that happened this afternoon, and it was terribly confusing, we know that there were 2 survivors in this house over my shoulder here. And we know that there was a 911 call that was given 9 hours later. Now, according to all accounts, we were under the impression that there were only 2 individuals in the home when law enforcement arrived. But we now find that there were other individuals in the house prior to law enforcement officers getting there other than those 2 individuals. And Trey, you know and I know, the contamination of a crime scene is something that we are all concerned about in a criminal investigation.
Pause it.
And I'm deeply
Here's the thing that we don't know, right? There has been a lot of speculation around it. Who made the 911 call, right?
Yeah.
We don't actually know who made that call.
No.
And he's saying right now there were other people in the house prior to police arriving. Right?
Yeah.
After the murders, but prior to the police arriving.
DM
so
called her friends to come over.
We have 2 survivors. We have Dylan and we have Bethany. They woke up and did whatever they did, and then, you know, who knows what happened. They called their friends over first, and then eventually a 911 call was made, right? It may not have been made by either one of those individuals.
No, it wasn't.
It could have been We think it's not a fact though, right?
I'd have to go again. There's so fucking much, but who is it? Was it DMZ boyfriend?
That's what I think. That's a common.
Is that the rumor? Is that actually come out
Yeah.
as a fact? I see. I'm even blurry on that because there's literally so much.
Yeah.
But yeah, it did come out recently for sure. That was one of the recent news stories that she didn't even make the call. Like,
I gotta be honest.
Now.
Even if we found an article that said that, I wouldn't even necessarily take that as fact. Because
Yeah, you'd have to do your own vetting on that as well.
It's so tough,
Actually.
man. It's so tough. But anyway, like people in chat are probably going to tell us who made the call.
Right
But
here, I got this. I bet it was Ethan's brother or best friend Hunter. I've heard both
yeah,
of those.
nobody knows. Nobody knows. But actually, Hunter is a huge theory. A lot of people think Hunter made the call.
Yeah, I've heard that.
I've seen that so many times.
Yeah,
But nobody knows. It's not a fact. Nobody actually knows who made the call.
right here, the Chick Antique did say News Nation reported Hunter Johnson.
Good. Yeah, News Nation. Good. That clears it up. Fucking News Nation.
Oh God.
About the fact that there were other individuals in the house before law enforcement arrived, and we, the public, or no one knew about that.
Yeah, I mean, part of the challenge is finding the right person and making an arrest, and then the real challenge is actually convicting that person, which is oftentimes very, very difficult. All right, Ted, you did this for a living at a very, very high level. Tell the viewers what the police are doing now. I mean, do they have things to go on? What are they looking for? I mean, it's early to run into roadblocks, but what are the police doing now?
Well, Trey, what the law enforcement is doing now is backtracking. They're trying to determine the motive. They're trying to determine who was in fact the target. And the way they're doing that is they're conducting interviews. They're looking at any social media sites associated with any of the victims. They're also checking out and talking to and canvassing the area for video feeds to try to determine who may very well have killed these young people. And Trey, when you look over my shoulder, you'll see that there are cars that are parked at the crime scene. Those cars belong to some of the victims, and those cars are part of this criminal investigation, and they have not moved as a result of that. But they're also doing a forensic digital fingerprint and footprint. And as I've been told, and the medical examiner has reported, Trey, there was a great deal of blood. So the person or the perpetrator of these killings would have certainly had to have had close contact since they were stabbed and everything, and so there would be blood all over that person. So they're trying to run all of those kind of leads down.
This guy, where's this guy at?
They got rules.
Where's this guy at?
They got rules.
What is his name? I want to see more reports by this man specifically because Jesus, he's killing it.
And if anybody knows in chat, pop it up.
And he's asking the right questions.
I'm sure he said it at the very beginning, actually. I like
he's
that guy
asking
too.
the right questions.
I like that guy too.
There is no, I didn't feel any like marketing like channel influence.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It wasn't any bullshit there, right?
He was
asking literally what we're asking.
And it seemed like he was going off his own thoughts, like his own feelings, his own thoughts. And that was brilliant. I love that.
I agree. That was a cool one. That was really cool.
That guy was great. Are there any other interviews with him? Because Jesus, I want to see them.